Hey there guys, it's Zologe here with a deck profile for the Ultra Athletes. This is a deck that revolves around using the UA Mighty Slugger and the Perfect Ace to create like some kind of like little, cute little engine where you switch out to Ace during your opponent's turn to prevent your opponent from using card effects, and then go into Mighty Slugger during your turn to dish nasty unstoppable damage. So without further ado, let's go into the deck profile and I'll explain to us as we go along. So first we run the one goalkeeper. You rarely go into this guy at all, but he is a nice little 2800 wall that once per turn can't be destroyed by battle or by card effects, which is pretty cool. That has this like Bujingi hair built into him, but he's not super nice. It's a one-off at most. And he's not necessarily easy to search either, and he's not all around worth it. Next we go for the triple Mighty Slugger. This is your win condition. You go into this guy equipped with a equipped spell card that we'll get to later on, and you're gonna basically be OTKing your opponent with this guy. It's pretty nasty for your opponent to deal with, since when he attacks, your opponent cannot activate anything. He is very difficult to stop at all. You need to stop him on summon or someplace else, otherwise he's gonna hit you, and he's gonna hit you hard. Next to go for the Perfect Ace. This guy is just for protection. You use him during it. Well, you can tag out your Mighty Slugger for the Perfect Ace during a main phase 2 to save yourself off of damage, as well as getting something that's like a Herald of Perfection, but you can only use it once per turn. But you can use it. But you don't need to discard a fairy or anything like that. It can be anything. You can discard anything to activate its effect, so which is really nice. And finally, we go for the main searcher, which is our midfielder. Now, he doesn't search on his own. You mainly just go for the UA Stadium, and then normal summon this guy, and you get the search off really easy. So he's like super important in this deck. Next, of course, we run a tour guide Scarm engine. Because this deck does not have much going for it, having this little like a neat little engine built into it works really easy. So you can actually go for things like Fortune Tune, Zen mains, and things that protect your life points while you're waiting to get your UA midfielder and UA Stadium on board, so you can start doing the searching that this deck does a lot. And of course, the Scarm that searches out your tour guides for your rank 3 plays. He's not like super. It's a pretty good engine. I also tried out the artifact engine, but it doesn't work nearly as well as the tour guide engine. But yes, next of course we run the triple Rhoda because we want to search out a midfielder as fast as possible. So having access to basically 6 midfielders is really nice. Sadly, it becomes kind of dead if you have multiples of midfielder on hand already, but it's a risk that you're gonna be having to take because of you need this guy early on. Next, we run 2 Barbaric Feast. This is just to bring back things like Perfect Ace and Mighty Slugger. Sure, their effects are negated and they can't attack during the turn you summon them this way, but you can still use them for rank 5 plays, and you can still bounce them back to tag out for the copies that you have in your hand. And you can also use them for tributes should you really need a normal summon or something. Next, of course, we run the triple Terraforming. This is to get to our stadium. The same reason as we run the Reinforcement of the Army, because we really need this card to search out everything else, aside from our equip spell, of course. Next, we run for the triple Mystical Space Typhoon for generic backrow removal, nothing too fancy there. Then we run the triple Monarch Stormforth because we do run a lot of monsters that require tributes, like we run 7 of them. So having a Monarch Stormforth just makes our lives a lot easier should we not have midfielder on hand. Now, this is not like a consistency thing, it's more or less just a way, not necessarily to deal with a bad hand, it's mainly just for us to utilize the Perfect Ace and Mighty Slugger in a different way. To get additional searches off of Stadium should things like a midfielder not be accessible at the time. And it's still a great card to have, don't get me wrong. Next, of course, we run the triple UA Power Jersey. This is the source of the OTK. In case you don't know what it does, it increases a UA monster's attack and defense by 1000. And if it battles an opponent's monster, the battle damage you inflict is doubled. And on top of that, when the equipped monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can make a second attack during that same battle phase. during your standby phase, you banish the equipped monster. However, you're going to be tagging out your Mighty Slugger into Perfect Ace most of the time, so you're not going to be needing to face that downside of it during your standby phase. So it's pretty awesome, and Perfect Ace protects himself very well. So next we go for the triple UA Stadium. This is our big search card. It's basically our tool. Well, actually, our scout for the deck, basically. When you have this on board and you normal summon a midfielder or whatever that is a UA monster, you get to add a UA monster from your deck to your hand. So the deck is really consistent once you get this off together with a midfielder, because you can consistently search forever as long as you have UA monsters to search for, which is really, really awesome. Next we run one trap stun because, you know, this deck really wants to OTK, and sometimes you don't have access to Mighty Slugger, or sometimes your opponent just activates something that you really don't want to deal with, say, I don't know, Fire Lake or what have you, and you just activate Trap Stun to negate it, and since you don't really, or you just want to negate your own Vanity's Emptinesses, because this deck requires a lot of special summoning, while you still want this card to be active during your opponent's turn. So you can go ahead and say, okay, Trap Stun to negate this effect, and then you just go ahead and special summon all you want and prepare for an OTK. And of course, that's everything for the main deck, because we run triple Vanity's Emptiness. I don't think I should need to explain it. And as for the extra deck, we run triple Gaia Charger. We run an awful lot of rank 5s in this, so Gaia Dragon is a nice little card to go into. Next we go for double Zen Mayo to pop back row and things like that. Not necessarily that this deck is too hurt by back row, because we have Slugger, which is just like unstoppable when it attacks. So yeah. Next we go for the double Tear Ass, because, you know, it's a nice little generic removal for rank 5 plays and things like that, so it's, you know, nice. Next, of course, we'll go for triple Volcasaurus, together, of course, with, you know, the Gaia Dragon. Creates something that's really easy to use, and it just murders things everywhere, and you're basically gonna make it game with this. If you have Volcasaurus together with a Gaia Dragon, that combo is basically game. You can dish out 5,000 plus damage with it, which is really crazy. Next, we run the one Downer Magician, because we run an awful lot of, well, not an awful lot, we run 3 you know, rank 3 monsters, and sometimes having access to Downer Magician just makes things a lot easier, especially with the Ghost Trick Alucard, because Alucard is kind of squishy, and we just want to go into this if when you activated Alucard's effect. Next we go for the one Castel to deal with anything out of our range, out of our capability to, you know, like destroy or whatever, say something like a Beals or what have you. Next, we run one Ghost Trick Alucard for back row removal, as well as a set card hate in general. Next, we go for the one Wind-Up Zen Mains, a pretty solid rank 3 monster. You're not going to be going into him too much, because there's a much better variant, which is the Fortune Tune. I love this card, I really do. It's one of my favorite cards of all time. So tell me what you guys think about this deck, and I'm out.